another raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a raw one, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you already know, I'm doing my 32 for 32 draft breakdown series where I take 32 teams for 32 days and do a draft breakdown for each and every team in the NFL for the 2018 NFL Draft. Now, if you're seeing this video, I'm on the Southern Division. And as I've done with the North, the East, and the West, I've done the AFC first and then the NFC second. So right now, I'm on the AFC South. Once again, if you're seeing this video, I've already done the Tennessee Titans. So right now, I'm on to the next team, and that is the winners of the AFC South. And if you could tell by the title, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So instead of wasting your time with all of this, let's just get into it. With the first pick for the 2018 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Taven Bryan. Now, Taven Bryan, before the college season started, and kind of during the college season, he got a lot of hype. And that hype came from a lot of people saying that this guy could possibly be the next J.J. Watt. Now, you know how the NFL works. There's a certain thing called trends. And trends work as when you have a certain type of player that comes into the league and they end up ripping it up. A lot of teams tend to follow and try to insert certain players into being, this is the next such and such. And 99% of the time, it doesn't work. The best example is that, let me just say with J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt was the second defensive lineman taken in that 2011 NFL Draft. And when we look at it, overall, besides Von Miller, he's probably the best defensive player from that draft. Actually, being as though he's won 3 defensive players of the year, he is the best defensive player in that draft. But that's looking at hindsight. Now, the crazy thing is that J.J. Watt, literally, I can sit here and say he is Reggie White reincarnate. I can say that, and it will actually be true. So, we didn't know that, though. And your prototypical defensive lineman would look like the guy that got picked ahead of him, Marcel Darius. So now you got a situation where back in the day, there was this guy named Nnamdi Asomugha. And after he had the great season in 2008 and 2009, teams wanted to copy off of that. So players that were 6'2", 6'3", were picked higher in the draft, higher than what they were supposed to be picked. I remember the St. Louis Rams took Jerome Murphy, and he turned out to be a bust. But not to get too far off of that, when it comes to Taven Bryan, with that comparisons, I can see the comparisons, but it's not all the way true. Now, I cannot say that he's not a good player because Taven Bryan is a great player, actually. It's just that to say he's the next J.J. Watt, you're ludicrous. And like I said, I apologize for going off topic and off of what the Jacksonville Jaguars was, but this is just me spitballing, and what I have in my head, I have a lot of NFL knowledge. So when it comes down to it, this is, I have to do it like that. But I can see, like I said, I can see why people said it. He's a guy that he's got a great motor. He's white, I guess. He's 6'5", 290 pounds. It fits the whole 6'5", 290 pounds for J.J. Watt. Sometimes he's bats some passes down. I mean, you know how people get. The trends, and that's what you have. But he's not a bad player, and I think it's a pretty solid pick from the Jaguars. Now, the only thing is that obviously you pick a player that I don't know how big of a need it was. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars roster didn't really have like a great huge need to me, except for maybe getting a receiver, getting a red zone type of receiver. I think that they kind of had everything else when it deep field stuff and all of that, and you had a slot guy, but getting that red zone tall receiver. I think that overall the defense was pretty solid. Maybe you get another corner or safety would have been one thing too, and all of that. So to me, they could have possibly went in a different direction, but they decided to go best player available, and he was a guy that was the best player available at that time. Now, I wouldn't say, I think there was another guy on the board that actually got picked after him that was probably will have rated higher than him. But overall, it's still a pick where it's not a bad slot to pick him. It's like, okay, you still got a good player out of it. So then going to that second pick, and I'm sorry that this video is going to be probably pretty long because of the spitballing, but they selected DJ Chark. Now, DJ Chark is a guy that I was a pretty big fan of, actually, when I saw him on tape. And then eventually, when I saw him in the Senior Bowl and I saw what he did, it was just like, yo, this dude can really play. Actually, you know what? Think about it. I saw the tape after the Senior Bowl because I had to make sure DJ Chark was a guy that was just, it looked like a deep threat guy, so I had to make sure what I saw. And I saw a dude that made a lot of plays on deep balls. He reminds me of a combination of two former Ravens receivers. Obviously, I'm a Ravens fan, and that is Jacoby Jones because of his height and length, and Torrey Smith because of his natural ability to go deep. Jacoby could go deep, but he wasn't consistent deep threat like Torrey Smith was. To me, DJ Chark has that ability to know how to go deep. Swiping the hands down, stacking the receiver, running past him, obviously with his great speed, and catching the ball like it's supposed to be caught over the shoulder. He's not the greatest hands catcher you're going to see. He is a kind of a body catcher in a way, but that's what happens with most speed receivers. He's kind of not, with the 6'3" frame, you will want those guys at least be 200 pounds. He's kind of like a 190-ish, but, and maybe that's because of his length anyway, but you got a guy that he's a pretty good deep threat. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this pick is that I felt as though, how did the Jaguars improve their receiving core by getting rid of Allen Robinson, or not re-signing Allen Robinson, but taking a DJ Chark? To me, there was probably some better receivers in terms of getting that type of receiver that you wanted and not taking a Chark. But we'll see. They still have, they still have Marquise Lee. They had that young kid that kind of did a lot of big plays during the AFC Championship. They have another young kid that, I'm like losing my thought here. I forgot where he played that. It was the same. He played at Oklahoma. DD, was it D something? Gosh, I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. I can't even remember his name, but, you got some talent there. So, but you don't have that physical receiver, and that's what I think they need. And they released Mercedes Lewis, so, okay. So then with that next pick, they chose Ronnie Harrison. Now, I'm not a big fan of Ronnie Harrison at all. I saw the tape, and I'm just like, y'all just like him because he's from Alabama. That's just simple as that. He gives you the athletic ability, but athleticism doesn't give you everything that you need. He's okay in coverage. He's a solid tackler. I guess he can, he laid the wood a few times, but there was nothing. I look for a safety to be instinctive and not miss tackles, and or just not overrun plays, and anyway, let's just get to the next pick. I'm sorry. In the 4th round, they chose Will Richardson. Now, I used 2 different websites. If you've seen one of my videos before, I've said this plenty of times. I used 2 different websites to look at prospects. His name wasn't on it, so I have nothing for you when it comes to Will Richardson. This video's probably turned out pretty bad, but please stick with me. Please stick with me. With their next pick in the 6th round, they chose Tanner Lee. He's a guy like a Mike White or a Kyle Luetta. I just feel as though are backup quarterbacks in this league. Nothing real special. And it's not had nothing to do with them being late round picks. There were some guys like a Logan Woodside I would choose ahead of them that I thought was a pretty good quarterback with, well, at least a pretty good arm strength, could really sling it. And these guys could sling it too. But I don't know if when I talk about the 3 guys, Kyle Luetta, Mike White, and Tanner Lee, I don't know if all 3 are going to be guys that can be a perennial, pro bowling quarterback, or at least a good starting quarterback for a team. They look like they can carve out their careers like a Jake Delhomme or Matt Hasselbeck or a Ryan Fitzpatrick or a Josh McCown. Like, that's where their barometer to me stands. So when it comes to Tanner Lee, I can't say too much. That's what I saw on tape. Simple as that. Now, with their next 2 picks, 2 7th-round picks, and I know this video is pretty bad for a draft breakdown because I'm not a huge fan of this draft at all. Like I said earlier, using those 2 websites, I didn't get to see none of the last 2 players. First of all, let me just put this out there. I don't do kickers, punters, and long snappers, and fullbacks. I don't watch those tapes, so The punter Logan Cook from Mississippi State, didn't watch him. But the linebacker Leon Jacobs from Wisconsin, sorry, didn't get to watch him. Overall, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad draft. It could be a better draft than what I think. This is just my thoughts about this draft. I don't think it's that great. But who knows? I could be completely wrong. And I know if you're a Jaguars fan watching this, you're going to be pissed off. But you know what? It is what it is. I can't, this is just my opinion. It's not true. It's not false. It's just an opinion. So anyway, just to go out in closing, if you want to see more draft breakdowns that will definitely be better than this, please subscribe. If you like this video, which maybe you probably wouldn't, still hit the like button. If you want to comment and debate about and talk about any of the players that I talked about for the Jaguars and their draft picks, please comment so we can have those debates. Please share this video so other people can join the debate and we can build a draft community. Once again, this is Draftrawthentic. I thank you for watching. 11 minutes in. Goodbye.